Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Megha Sharma. There has been very unfortunate news that has unraveled in the last 12 to 15 hours where we ended up losing 4 of our Jawans in Doda, where there was a counter-terrorism operation that was being carried out by the Indian Armed Forces. Now, the families are bereaved. The bodies of the 4 Jawans are at this point of time being transported back to their hometowns. But the big question arises is that in the series of attacks that have recently sprung up in various parts of Jammu, then force us to question about the preparedness of our security forces, about the intelligence bureau and its capability in successfully encountering this piece of information, telling it to the police, telling it to the armed forces to ensure that such terrorist operations are nipped in the bud. But let's start our conversation. Joining me on the telecast is SP Ved. He is the former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir. And SP Ved, it's one incident far too many that has taken place in the last 12 hours. How do you react to it? Do you think we were falling short in our intelligence, we were falling short in our preparedness to have not been able to handle the situation, neutralize these terrorists, and instead it is our armed forces, Jawans, who have lost their lives? Can you hear me, SP Badji?
Oh, your question is to me. Can
Yes,
you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, very unfortunate incident what happened yesterday. But see, such incidents happen only when we do not know about exact location of the terrorist. So that's why they're able to lay ambush. If I know the terrorists are hiding on that mountain and they are laying an ambush, I wouldn't get get attacked, and I will take precautions. I think some portion of it, lack of intelligence, exact intelligence, that is there definitely. But I'm told they went on a specific information uh, uh, to raid their hideout, and that is when they were actually ambushed on way. So I think information was there, but then it could be trap. I don't know the exact details of the what kind of input came. It sometimes terrorists do lay a trap also. I think that needs to be looked into by the senior officers of both J&K police and the army. How information came, what was the credibility of the source, and on the basis of that information, when operation was launched, what precautions were taken that the raiding party is not ambushed or attacked. I think senior officers must be taking account of that.
Absolutely. SP Ved, could this incident have been averted if our intelligence was far stronger in figuring out where these terrorists were located? What made it a challenge for the Indian Armed Forces to not being able to identify them, their locations, and then target them and neutralize them?
See, what I'm seeing the pattern in what's happening, but was earlier happening in Rajouri Punch and now in other parts of Jammu, like what happened in Mashedi, Bilawar, Kathua, or here yesterday. There is, I think, there's ground intelligence is lacking, and I'm told they are using some Chinese app to communicate, so which is not being our agencies are not able to intercept that, and that actually gives them a cover. So we earlier we used to get which tower he's talking to, we would know rough location. That is not happening now. So I think that's why I have been emphasizing again and again that local coordination with local people has to be top class by the local police. You have to have human intelligence in such cases where technical intelligence is not available. So I think something is lacking there. Human intelligence, There is no replacement of human intelligence. In such situations, you have to, wherever you have information about rough location of the terrorist, I think the local police has to cultivate people, sources in those areas and get exact information. Who's giving them food? Who's giving them transport? Who is taking them from one place to the other? Who is giving them shelter? A Pakistani terrorist would not know exactly all these locations, movement of the army, movement of the police, and the exact location of the
Yeah.
police. All these things, I think somebody is helping them. And such people, overground workers, need to be identified by J&K police. And I think, as a statement from the present DGP R.R. Swan, that Enemy Agents Act must be put against such people after they are arrested.
Okay. Major General G. Dedi, now a very strong statement has come from the Defence Minister, now where he has given the Indian Army Chief a free hand to act in whichever way he deems is correct to avenge the death of the 4 Jawans. What do you think should be the action taken by the Indian Army?
Well, first and foremost, Megha, I share my grief with deep sense of anguish with the 4 brave hearts that we lost yesterday. And only last week, we lost another 5. So this makes it 9 in 1 week, which is a very heavy toll. And today only I wrote an op-ed in the Tribune. And the op-ed heading reads, Operation Doctrine Needed to Defeat Proxy War. Megha, ironically, we are seeing this a day-to-day event, but I have covered this 4 decades of proxy war by Pakistan, a decade in Punjab and 3 decades plus in J&K. And this is not an academic piece because for 4 years I was deployed in Punjab militancy and have multiple tenures including command of a formation in Baramulla. The issue is Pakistan is prosecuting proxy war. And we are fighting a terrorist event day-to-day basis. Yesterday this happened, today we have no intelligence. Therefore yesterday this happened. This is not the way. And let me tell you the casualties. In the J&K, in last 3.5 decades, we have lost 6,500 security personnel. In Punjab, we lost 3,500. Civilians, 38,000 in J&K, about 13,000 in Punjab. Now these casualties are far more than all the 4 conventional wars we have fought. But we are talking today, we don't have intelligence. It is north of Pir Panjal, south of Pir Panjal, it is Rajouri, it is Poonch, it is Doda. That's our fallacy. The point is, as a nation, we don't have a strategy how to punish Pakistan government, how to punish the Pakistan army. And that's the point I brought out in my op-ed. Now
Okay.
I'd like to make 3-4 important points. First and foremost, let's get it right that Pakistan has a game plan. And they have been changing the strategy depending upon where the opportunities are. In the mid-90s, we almost lost J&K till we stabilized. And thereafter, they have been playing the game. Sometimes they are in south of Pir Panjal, sometimes they are north of Pir Panjal. And in the last 30 months, we have lost 50 security personnel in Jammu and Kashmir, Poonch and this area. So what are we to do? First and foremost, let's get our strategy right. And that strategy must be not enough that we are not going to talk as terrorism is there. Our strategy should be to punish Pakistan government in Islamabad through political, economic, and other diplomatic means. And as far as army is concerned, our operation doctrine must be first to hit out the bases in Pakistan. Terrorists are coming, having free run because we have a ceasefire. There is no punitive action we can take. So they are coming at will. And we are only taking them on the line of control or in the hinterland. So first and foremost, we must take them on from where their starting point is. Then, of course, we need to abrogate this ceasefire agreement. Doesn't do any good.
Okay.
It is only helping them to infiltrate. And then come to hinterland where we have to put our own house in order. So all I can say is that until we don't have a strategy and doctrine in place, this fait accompli is going to continue.
Okay.
And we will be fighting these wars for the next 3 decades without any tangible results.
Okay.
So it's the time that we go get on with very professionally fight the war as a war and not as a counter-terrorist or cross-border terrorism.
Okay. Major General Rajan Kochar, then can at this point of time lessons be learnt from the strong police force, the strong army force that is in place in Kashmir, where terror attacks have reduced to a nil, and in contrast, the focus of the terrorists has shifted to Jammu?
See, let's look first inwards rather than outwards, because we have to set our things in order here. And things are not in order as of now. We are aware. And I think the government is aware, and all the necessary actions have been taken, are in the process of being taken. And I'm sure this situation is going to stabilize. I will take you back, because in J&K, if you look at the events, there is a cycle which repeats itself. For example, from 1999 to 2003, we had a series of Fidan attacks. And we lost a number of our soldiers in that almost period of 4 years, where they used to come disguised as policemen and as army men and all that. Then we carried out an operation Sart Vinash in 2003. This operation, we were able to kill 64 terrorists. In an area of 150 square kilometers, the Indian Army pumped in their troops from 15 Corps also. CRPF also took part in the operation, and it was a joint operation of all kinds. And we were able to take them out. Now, what has happened is that we vacated these areas, and these areas were not dominated. Wherever you find the area domination is not taking place, where a terrorist can feel that he can roam freely without being challenged, you will find this situation coming. So the first lesson, because you asked me a lesson here, the first lesson is that whatever be the state of the situation, you are not having any attacks in an area over a period of time, and you tend to get complacent and start redeploying your forces to some other place. So the first lesson is that on the line of control, on the IB, you cannot reduce your vigil. You cannot move your troops from one location to another and leave voids in that area.
Okay. So I think is this what has happened? Because we were so focused on controlling terrorism in Kashmir that we kept Jammu away from our eyesight, and that has led to the terrorists finding these loopholes and entering into our territory with the help of overground workers.
Megha, it was not actually Kashmir. We actually moved these forces to the Ladakh border. South Kashmir is still, it has a counter-terrorism grid, it has a counter-infiltration grid, 3 layers of security is there, the good intelligence network is there. What we actually did was that once we vacated these areas, all our intelligence sources were deactivated. It had actually dried up. And also this village defense committee concept, which we had established earlier, that VDCs were dissolved. So we did not have any means of intelligence now coming in these areas. And to rebuild this, see, don't expect that there is Aladdin ka Chirag and Fauj has come and everything will stabilize in a few days. It will take time for the Indian Army to stabilize, because this entire intelligence network has to be recreated. And is DGP aware this here? He's aware how difficult and how much time it takes to build up a source in intelligence source. And so it has to be credible also. You can't rely. You see, today an ambush has taken place. we exactly don't know that who gave this information and whether and how credible this information was. So this are the lessons in front of us, and I'm sure that you must give army some time. Army is a potent force. The RR is here. 63 RR battalions are deployed in the valley today, and a large chunk is in South Kashmir. Balance is here.
Okay.
And additional special forces have been inducted mega here. 4 months back, we have inducted special forces here. They are taking their own situation and own areas under control. The entire the area has been divided into sectors, and you further actually divided into sub-sectors. So everybody is on the move here. Nobody is sitting on its haunches. I'm aware it's a big challenge. We will have these incidents happening. It's a cause for concern. I'm not saying that we need not be bothered about it. It is a cause of concern, but you have to give some time for this situation to stabilize.
Okay.
Because your entire intelligence network is not existing as on date. You have to recreate it, and it takes time. Because on ground, all these things happen. The troops have to move on ground. The terrain is also very, very difficult. It is very easy for the terrorists. And my last point is they are being aided by the local population.
Yeah. Okay. So, Brigadier Rajan Chambal, here when we take a look back into the surgical strikes that have been conducted by the Indian Armed Forces into territories residing out of Pakistan, and there has been, areas that have been zeroed down, they have been identified, these terrorist training grounds that have been located, and there have been surgical strikes attacking, making those specific targeted attacks on these terrorist training camps that has been done successfully. This time around, we found out that it is a shadow group that is affiliated to the Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorist organization. How easy or difficult do you think it would be if there was a chance that the Indian Armed Forces were to repeat a surgical strike into the territory of Pakistan, and in a bid to locate where are these places where the training camps, where the headquarters of Jaish-e-Mohammed lie?
You see, it will not be difficult. The issue is, when we talk about surgical strike, you assume that the problem is in one particular area where you can strike, surgically take out the disease and this thing. Here, you require not one, multiple surgical strikes. So I would go beyond calling it surgical. It should be a strike. That is why the scrapping of 2004 ceasefire agreement is a must, so that we are free to use our artillery, even air assets at will, not only against terrorist launch pads, but against the support structure that the Pakistan army provides, in terms of infiltration through their posts. So those posts have to get destroyed. Moment you find infiltration coming nearby from a post, that post should absolutely get obliterated. Now, coming to what has happened recently in 1.5 months here, what's so different? We have seen much bigger groups in late 90s and all operating in these areas. And but this time they appear to be a little more coordinated, controlled, with a slightly better communication. And the worst is, disappear. They carry out a hit and then they disappear. It is like something like into thin air. It reminds me a little bit of Operation Gibraltar when 65. Something like that, I have a suspicion, is being attempted now, where they infiltrated not exactly untrained jihadis and all. These are highly trained mercenaries or the regular soldiers. On the way of they are operating, the way they are equipped, these could be highly trained mercenaries or regular soldiers or even SSG's commandos who are operating. And even if you look at the time frame, Gibraltar took place, I think, around 4th of August. This is slightly before. It was 3 years after 62. We have had Galwan and this thing. So when you see Pakistanis have a particular way of thinking, they think, okay, India, they thought it in 65, now embroiled with China. This is our time. We go in. They don't think of too much of consequences. What will be our reply when we had, the Grand Slam in return. And this time, we must also return totally in kind on a much bigger scale. I mean, political, diplomatic, economic, all that can go on. But end of the day, they understand the language of a military strike. That is what they understand, and we have to go it in a big way.
Okay. SP Vaid, coming back to you. Now, how do we ensure that our internal intelligence is up to mark, that we are not faltering in this aspect, because which is causing us to lose more of our jawans, more of our policemen? And how do you, like you rightfully mentioned that it is without the help of the overground workers, these terrorists would not be able to operate so successfully. How do you then ensure that these overground workers are identified and put behind bars?
See, before I come to intelligence and overground worker, I have an appeal to everyone that we must do whatever we can do to ensure that no infiltration takes place. That is the root cause. If you see in Jammu region, all these are foreign terrorists. Those who are operating in Rajouri Poonch are foreign terrorists. We know 100%. Those who got eliminated in Hiranagar, Kathua, both were foreign terrorists. Those who operated in Mashedi, all foreign terrorists. Now this group is also foreign terrorists. All these are foreign terrorists. The local, there is no local terrorism in Jammu, but I am told that those local terrorists who had gone in 90s to Pakistan from all these areas, Doda, Kishtwar, Rajouri, Poonch, who had got settled in Pakistan, their services are being used to cultivate overground network. Now that somehow we need to track down, number one. Number two, as I said, there is no replacement to human intelligence in a situation where you are not getting technical input that we were easily getting in Kashmir. Now that part, I think it's a difficult task, but police has been doing it in the 90s, in the 2000, and I don't think with a dedicated team of police officers, I don't think it should be difficult. The civil administration and police should together ensure that whichever village such movement is noticed, they get to know. Now, I was surprised in Mashedi when they attacked. The people, you think people of Mashedi village did not know that terrorists are they have come in that area, and how come the local authorities, whether policemen or the civil administration, did not know that there is a movement of terrorists? They could have alerted the army vehicle which was ambushed. I think so there's something lacking in coordination also. That's my my experience, because when we launched Operation All Out, General Sandhu was Corps Commander 15 and CRPF Zulfikar, the ADG. We had such a coordinated work, and that grid is excellent in Kashmir. What is lacking in Jammu? I think that needs to be focused on. That is the answer. And we must, another aspect I would like to mention, we must recruit at least 1,000 or 2,000 SPOs from the local areas, whether it is Rajouri, Poonch or now Dodar, whichever area which is affected, and provide these boys as SPOs to army and police, because they know they are local boys. They know they graze their cattle in these jungles. They take their sheep. They know which Pakdandi is there. They know where are the hiding places. So I think local boys must be roped in. And their services should. We had used them in thousands in clearing Doda in 1990s. Why can't we do that now?
Okay, fair enough. General Dwivedi, taking a look at, I'm going to build a contrast in terms of the Lok Sabha elections that happened in Jammu and Kashmir, and there was record number of people who came out to vote. There are also at this point in time questions being raised if the security and safety of people is enough in Jammu and Kashmir to have state elections take place before September 2024. These attacks once again are a ploy that is being used by Pakistan to deter Jammu and Kashmir, to have Jammu and Kashmir and its people to have normal lives, to have administration, to have governance and government that is going to run the state, run the union territory, which is right now, and turn it into a state and then run the state. Do you think such acts, which have become repeated and frequent in number, is then going to deter the normalcy for the administration to function, for government to function in Jammu and Kashmir?
Absolutely, Megha. I think every common citizen, whether it is in J&K or elsewhere, they want peace and prosperity. And I have also been to a number of places in J&K in the last couple of months, and there was a general groundswell that there should be peace, normalcy, so that there is a prosperity and progress in place. And such incidents definitely are detrimental because they put a fear of psychosis among the public. Public again goes mute, and the terrorists try to convey a message that should you be colluding with the government or with the civil agency, then you'll have to pay a price. And then they start targeting. But I'd like to make two important points about the whole proxy war. First and foremost, Megha, in the annal of military history, you can never win a war by being defensive or by being reactive. Therefore, we got to go proactive. And there's no option but to hit out the bases in Pakistan, make the LOC, especially the posts which are facilitating the infiltration, make them pay the price. And secondly, DGP made a very important point. Until we don't have a positive groundswell, because the terrorists have made a very effective ecosystem, and they are getting not only logistic support, they are getting intelligence support, and therefore this nexus between the locals and the terrorists need to be broken. Until we have a very specific ground intelligence, and having carried out a number of operations in these areas, only very specific intelligence can get you success, and for that you require local support. And most of the time the locals are actually coerced. They are actually made to support at the point of the gun. So therefore, I think this approach has to be threefold: across the line of control, on the line of control, and in the hinterland. And let me tell you, we got to fight it as a proxy war and not as a counter-terrorist operation in one region or the other. Because as far as Pakistan is concerned, India is a one front. Sometimes they are in the north of Peer Punjab, sometimes south of Peer Punjab, sometimes in Punjab. I am speaking from Punjab. Sometimes they activate the Amritsar border, and they can come to hinterland and repeat something like what happened in Bombay and other places. So therefore, my watchword is it's a national issue. It has to be fought on the national platform. Security forces are one of the elements, but there are a lot of other elements which have to come into play, and this war can be defeated only when we come together as a nation, as security forces and also as civils. Thank you.
General Rajan Kochar, then there is also a lot of, a narrative being built by the opposition, talking about how the government has, at this point of time, built a narrative that there is peace and harmony in Jammu and Kashmir. There are no terrorist attacks that happen in Jammu and Kashmir. The security forces have been able to ensure that there is calm. And the natural order has been reposed back in Jammu and Kashmir after abrogation of Article 370. How should the government of India right now retaliate to all these accusations that are coming forth?
I think the best way to keep opposition or anybody quiet is to take an action, and a punitive action which will keep everybody quiet, because the situation in Jammu and Kashmir is peaceful. Who says it is not peaceful? It is peaceful. It has been peaceful. It's only the last 2-3 months we are actually observing a spurt in these terrorist attacks, especially on the army convoy. Also, we had in Riyasi also, where we lost 9 civilians. So the point here is that if you take into account all the regions of Jammu and Kashmir, there is an absolute control. You can see the tourism building up in J&K, the amount of people who are coming there, the industries coming there, how much money government is investing there, jobs have been created there. So we have seen a great deal of development in the state. So nobody, and it's not a political statement, it's a statement which you can see on ground. People who visit Jammu and Kashmir have been telling me that how much the situation has improved. They can move around in Srinagar city in all those areas without any issues. So now is the question that if you have to listen to the opposition, they will keep on speaking on something or the other all the time. And now is a matter of national security. I think the opposition parties must keep quiet on this because they have to fight this thing together as a nation.
Okay.
You can't be an opposition and you can't be a government. When we are going through this phase where our army is being targeted, here you have to support the government because the government is the one who is going to control the situation.
Right.
And you must have faith and trust in the people who have been elected by the population of this country, who are the representatives of the masses, and I think they will deliver. And the best way to silence them is now to take action on all these
fair enough.
suggestions which have actually come up.
Brigadier Rajan Jamwal, a response from you before I wrap this up. Now, amidst all these, options that have been given, recommendations that have been provided by all the panelists, can these all come together simultaneously, work parallelly for the armed forces, for the government of India, for the Home Ministry and the Defence Ministry to ensure these infiltration bids are put to rest once and for all?
Absolutely. I think the time has come when we need something like a National Security Coordination Council. I mean, there are different agencies, Army, BSF, CRPF. We do have this, joint groups, this thing, but these are informal groups. A proper command structure which controls counterinsurgency operations and the synergy between the police, paramilitary forces and the army. It needs to be more formalized so that effective results can be there. Otherwise, there are insurgency, it's a little bit of rivalry, this thing. So that needs to be done. And all the suggestions which have come out, I mean, they are practicable. They can be done. End of the day, we have to fight it as a nation, as one society. And what do people, go against the nation? People who talk AOGWs or whatever. There are only two things, either indoctrination, religious indoctrination, or financial inducements. For financial inducement, we have to go hard on a chap. For the other thing, we have to go for a heavy de-radicalization drive. I think these two will just solve the problem. Once there will be no OGW issue, there will be no terrorism.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.